Hello, my viewers. This is Gaming Odyssey back at again with another episode of you guessed it, how to manage your jams in this game that's out to basically get into your pockets. You guys know it. It's time for Uncle here to help you save on gems. Now, am I here to give you guys a new stuff? No. Am I here to talk about gems? Absolutely. I'm here to talk about gems. And as you guys know, I am the biggest cheapskate here on Master Duel. I think I'm competing for one of the best ones though. Because spending it, I don't like to, but I like the cards. However, I'm a very patient person and I know many of you guys are not that patient. Now, am I here to give you guys some tips about being patient? No, I am not trying to do that, guys. What I'm trying to do, guys, is simply say this, okay? In this game, there's a plethora of cards. There's a lot of attributes, a lot of types, so many cards to play, so little time, so much decks to run through, so on and so forth. And for me, I've been very blessed to have created an account with so many good cards. And I just wanted you to say, you know what? Guys, we cannot afford to be greedy. And that's the honest truth, guys. We can't afford to be greedy. Now, what kind of cards do I have? I have anywhere from Tri-Brigades, Gladiators, Sharanoes, Shidal, Trindales, Magician Pendulum, War Chalice, Vampires, DDDs. I'm almost completed my Valance. I also have my Phantasm deck, which is also free to play. My Raid Raptors, which I've completed, and then the Dragon Maids and the other ones that come for free. Guys, I have been blessed, no lie. I have been very lucky. Some of the ways I get many of the cards I cannot reveal here on YouTube, especially since I know that they're going to do everything that they can to patch it, so I can't reveal the way I usually go about getting it. However, I can say one thing, guys, that one of the best ways to get the decks you want is by what? Being patient, holding on to your gems, and then buying what you really need in order to complete decks. Now, I believe I have spoken vehemently about this, stating that in order for you to be able to play cards that you really want to play, you need to be willing to do one thing, guys, and that is you should be willing to focus on only one deck at a time. And that's the most important thing. Only one deck at a time. It's very important, boys and girls, that you focus on that. The reason why I say this is because if you're trying to chase so many things at the same time, you're gonna lose. I'm sorry to say it, you're gonna lose. Secondly, I just want to say this out here, that if you want a deck so badly, please focus on only getting that particular deck. That means you do your research. Right now, we know two of the best cards out there that stand out that actually would get you a lot of wins are two cards: Sword Souls and then the new Albaz. We already know those two cards will always, it's almost like a fool's assurance that you're always you're gonna win at least maybe 60% of all your matches to be able to get into the platinum. That's assuming you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, yeah, sure, you can escape through gold, and to get into platinum. But for you to get from platinum into the higher levels of diamond, you need to know your craft. So, what am I saying? I am saying that in order for you to get to where you want to get to, you have to look at the top performing cards. And like I said to you guys, Albaz, Sword Souls, these are two top performing cards. And then I know there are many others out there that you guys can actually play that are actually noob free. So, what am I saying? I'm simply saying for you to focus on those cards that actually perform well, and then you can go to other cards that you might try to maybe you want to play. Let's say, for instance, you want to go to the zombies, you want to play the zombie decks. Maybe you want to go to the snow queens, you go to the snow queens. You want to play the machines, you go to the machine side. You know, you check all those places out. But for you to dibble and dabble in everything, you cannot do that. Not on a free account. You gotta pay the bucks. And trust me, Uncle Konami knows how to siphon money out of you. Once they see that you have money at the upper area, they will do everything to give you the bad cards so they keep you coming back. You know? So, how do I get around this? Now, I'm not going to share all the tips and tricks, but I will tell you one thing. The first thing is curb your gambling habits. Again, I'm going to say this again. Curb your gambling habits. That means if you put 100 gems to get, you know, a card pack, and you don't get anything from there, what do? You might want to try again, or you might want to go to 1,000 gems to get more. Do not do that. If you have 1 or 2 cards not perform well, don't continue, just leave it there and move on. Okay, that's basically curbing your distance. For me, I do once. If I don't get a super or ultra in the first one, I leave it and I walk away. I do not try again. That's what I do. Okay, one of the things that I do in order to make sure that the game does not continue to siphon my gems. If I try once and I don't see anything good, I drop it. I come back the next day, I try again, I don't see anything good, I drop it. If I see something good, I'll try again. If I get something good again, I try again. But you know, if I don't see anything good, I drop it. Only once. Do not allow the game siphon your gems. Give them once a day. If they don't give you anything good, you tell them, okay, you know what, to hell with them, move on. Okay, that's the way you keep gems in your pocket, but at the same time, you're also trying to get cards you want. And again, you only want to get cards that you want to complete your deck, and you want to make sure that you can play that deck for at least 3 months. Are you guys getting me? You want to make sure you can play the deck for at least 3 months. Any deck you're trying to play with, make sure you can actually score wins with them, and you can compete with them at a higher level. That means you can get into platinum with them. If you can't get into platinum with them, then don't bother. One of the best ways to actually test whether your deck is good is by going to all these third-party Yu-Gi-Oh sites. You go to the third-party Yu-Gi-Oh site, you see the deck you want to build, you go there and then you build them there. And then you play them against the general public. And then if you get what you want, if you're seeing a repeat success, then you can come back to Master Duel and then build that deck here and then play it for at least 3 months. Why do I say 3 months? Every single day you have an opportunity to make at least 100 gems or 120 gems every single day, right? That's assuming you do 3 of the hold on please. That's assuming you did 3 of the missions for the day. If you haven't done your 3 missions for the day, boom, that's 120 gems right there. Okay, 120 gems right there looking at you to get it. So you can get 120 gems every single day, plus the login, which is about 20, right? So if you do the login every single day, that means you are getting approximately 140 gems every single day that you can make with. Now, sure, you can get other new things like a Duel Live. You can put another 5 gems on top of it, and then you can maybe finish up some of your lifetime dueling stuff, right? And then you can get some more gems through that way, or you can go ahead and go to your solos, and you can get more gems that way, right? You can get all your gems, and complete all your stuff, right? Okay, that's cool. So that's as simple as that, guys. All right. So just remember, 1 gem a day, right? 1 gem a day for the decks you want to complete. And once you complete that deck, make sure that you're going to play that deck for at least 3 months. All right. Now, how many decks do I believe that everybody should have? At least you should have 2 decks. That means 1 deck that you focus on, that you know is going to get you wins, so that way you don't feel bad every single time, right? Something like the Sword Souls, something like the Despias, and some other decks again that actually have been showing good wins. Don't look at people like Decade and these other players, or Team Samurai, whatever. Don't look at their distance and see all those decks that they're making. Do not do that. Many of these YouTube channels that actually focuses on YouTube, on Yu-Gi-Oh, don't go around looking at the channels and simply saying, "Hey, this guy is playing this card, so I should go ahead and play." Do not be fooled by those channels. Those channels are actually pouring a lot of money into their Yu-Gi-Oh accounts. All right, they're pouring a lot of money into their Yu-Gi-Oh accounts. So don't be fooled by those kind of accounts. What you need to do is go to a third-party website that actually does Yu-Gi-Oh, like maybe Yu-Gi-Oh Dueling Book, Yu-Gi-Oh something deck, I've forgotten what it is. Or you can go and get some of those Yu-Gi-Oh Pro Edo and the Pro Omega, and so on and so forth. Get those kind of decks, get those kind of Yu-Gi-Ohs. Make the decks you wanna you wanna play, and then go play over there and then see the results. Have an understanding of the deck overall, and if the deck is strong, then you come back to Master Duel and then focus on making it and only it. Now, take for instance, now we have in the shop, we have Battle Trajectory, right? And if you look at my Battle Trajectory, you actually see that basically overall I've had some luck with getting some of the cards that I really want. Now, if you look at it very well, you find out that they've been giving me all the trashy things. They're missing cards like this guy. They don't want to give this Gertrude to me. No matter what I do, no matter how many times I come in here to try, it's so difficult for me to get the Gertrude. Now look at all these other cards that I barely even play, that they've given to me, right? They're giving me 4 of them, giving me many cards in other distance, and I'm like, okay, why is this thing happening? Why are they keeping me away from cards that I really need? And that's because they want to keep you in the game. Now, for you to maybe get some of these other cards, you either have to wait maybe towards the ending of this of these cards, maybe to even try to get them. Maybe they will release the numbers, they will release the probability of you getting them, or you have to buy a large amount, let's say maybe 5,000 gems, in order for you to even qualify to get one of these guys, one of these big boys here. So I think that is how they've made it. They made it in such a way that you have to continue to put in gems into the game. I don't blame them. I'm not going to sit down here and knock their hustle, man. It's up to us whether we want to do so or we want to craft it our own selves. But you have to respect the hustle in order for you not to be eaten by the hustle. Okay? That's one of the things I'm suggesting. That's why I'm coming to you guys live, to help you guys understand that you don't have to put a plethora of gems into the game to get what you want. You just have to be patient and, every single day grind out what you want. Now, guys, listen, I'm not going to sit down here and say you shouldn't spend money inside the game. I'm not saying that. I'm saying for all those cheapskates like myself, for all those patient buddies like myself, just take the time and play it one day at a time, and then try to see whether you get the cards that you want. And if not, that's it. But all I'm simply saying is for you to spend all your gems on the same day, everything, 1,000 gems, trying to get the cards you want, you're more likely not to get those cards. That's all I'm just simply saying. You're more likely not to get this card. But if you're patient and you take it day by day, eventually they will give you the cards. Now, are you going to spend more than maybe somebody who spent maybe 5,000 gems in here? Probably not. Probably not. But at the same time, you have to remember that time is money. And for those people who wish to pay the money in order to get the gems, they have easier access to what they need in order to build what they want. But if you're like me, who in the beginning spent your gems on decks that you can't get enough of, decks that you really want to play with. For instance, for me, when I first started, I started with Gladiator Beast, right? Gladiator Beast and Tri Brigades. Back then, they were the hotcakes in Master Duel, and I enjoyed the heck out of them, right? And then after that, I moved over to Newbies, and after that, I moved over to more like Shadows, and right now I'm just in pendulums. I like pendulums a lot, However, I'm testing out a new variant of the what do you call this thing again? Ting Dagel, basically, because I saw that they were kind of almost free, many of them. So I said, you know what, let me just go ahead and invest and see whether I can make them better. If there's any way to make them better. Because one thing I really like is exploring the plethora of cards that Yu-Gi-Oh has offered. Yu-Gi-Oh has so many cards that they can't even, I don't know how, I don't think they keep track of it. They just make new cards that people will just buy. So but the idea is going back to see all those free normal rare cards that you can get and see whether they can actually help push some of these decks a little bit into the platinum category. I really enjoy experimenting, especially with the new situation that's out there. The new Yu-Gi-Oh nowadays is not slow. It is fast, summon, and and flood the field with all kinds of crap. And my job basically now is to make people who are always summoning a lot to be frustrated. Be it using the Meteor King. I've forgotten what his name is. The Meteor distant. Oh my goodness, I've forgotten what it is. Either using that, or using Impermanence, or using Crossout Designator. All these other cards actually help to boost some of these low-end decks, and the idea is to get those low-end decks up again to make sure that they are at least a little bit competitive for the big boys. Yes, on a good day, sometimes they are really good. They can help you out. They can beat out the big boys. Show them who's king a little bit. But I would say 60% of the time, you already know the big boys will always trash them. There's no if or but about it. But there's always something about dueling, being the underdog, and pushing against the tide of time, to simply say, you know what, I am not going to allow these decks go into the rot, and simply say, okay, you know what, they're non-existent. There are many gems out there that this game has produced and decided to put to the wayside because of their love for money. So they've not really balanced the game. I don't think they will be able to balance the game with millions of cards they've produced. But I can say that you can always find something out of them. Now, what am I saying? I'm simply saying, like, for this Cosmic Queen, if you look here, you'll notice one thing. I don't have much of the cards here. Why is that? Because for me, I don't believe in getting water-related decks. Okay? I don't like them. I don't play them. Do I want those cards? No. Right? Do I know that, okay, maybe later on they might release them in another format? Surely. Konami is a business, for crying out loud. And it needs money. So for me, I'm looking at them, I'm like, okay, you know what? Sooner or later, they're going to re-release all these cards that are in here in one shape or the other. Maybe 2 months from now, 3 months from now, 4 months from now. Do I have the time to sit down and play all these cards? No. But I have what is working for me, right? And what's working for me is pendulums. So why did I save my gems in order to put it here in the pendulums deck? Very simple, guys. Because it's filled with a lot of pendulum related things. We have the Valence, we have we have the Perform Pals, and what else do we have? We have the Scareclaws, and then we have the Queen, which is beyond the pendulum. And that's what I want to get. I want to get all the pendulum related cards here in this game, because for me, I have basically designated my account as a pendulum related deck. That means when the pendulum card comes out, My job is to try and get the strong pendulum decks on board. That means pendulum magician, pendulum odd eyes. These are the things that I like, and as a result of that, I just focus in on them. Are they very strong? Not really. Are they mediocre? Probably. Are they somewhere in the middle that I believe I can rate them at least between a 6 and 7? Yes. Are they that strong against some of the other decks? Not really. But I enjoy their game style, and I can spend time on them trying to make them winners. Is it a long task? Sure. But something that I enjoy doing. Now, let's look at the new Albaz, right? The new Albaz came out, boom. Let's look at it. Out of all the new Albaz, what do I want out of this Albaz? I got many of the cards from the Albaz, right? I already got those cards because I spent my gems wisely. I wanted the Albaz because I know that Albaz is a real booty shaker, okay? It knows how to shake things up. So as a result of that, I wanted these cards and I'm going to get them, right? Little by little. As much as they want to keep it in this format, I have taken the time to get it. Now, when they first came out in the other edition, I felt that they were too much. I'm glad that Konami decided that they were going to milk the Albaz again for some money, and now they're doing so. And it's my second chance in order for me to get some of the cards I didn't get. For instance, this card here, the Fallen of Albaz. I didn't have the Fallen of Albaz before. I have 2 copies now. Okay, I didn't have any copy of the Virtuous Iglesias. Now I have it now, right? Never had a copy of the Golden Sword Soul. Now I got 3 copies of that now, right? Had only 1 copy of this, now I have a copy of that. Never had a copy of this, now I have a copy of it now, right? And so on and so forth. One of the cards that I'm trying to get is this card here. It's one of the cards that I know because in order for me to complete my Dogmatica, that means Dogmatica will be free for me to play now, right? Because I have a lot of the other Dogmatica, but for some reason when I was going through the Tri Brigades, trying to get my Tri Brigades, I never got this card. So now I'm trying to say, you know what? I have an investment, right? I have the Albaz lineup, right, which is right here. I got my my Dogmatica lineup, which is right here, right, with some Dogmatica cards that I want here, right, and then that's it, right? So Dogmatica and Albaz, I already got those. The Springans, I don't know, maybe they might bring out the Springans maybe at a later time somewhere else, but for now, I got the cards that I need the most, and I'm happy that I have them now in my deck, right? So what am I trying to say, guys? I'm trying to say this. If you guys can't get a card, wait until Konami decides that they were smart enough to reintroduce the card again. Now, guys, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be thorough with this. Very simple. Look at all these card collections here. Look at all the card collections here. Konami needs the money and will continuously, in many instances, bring back cards that are very important in shaping up the meta here in Master Duels. I assure you, many of the cards that you think you want to get, you're going to get them at a later time. You just have to be patient, right? So, what am I saying? I'm saying for all my gem hoarders, choose the kind of decks that you want to build and build them accordingly. Make sure the deck is strong here in Master Duel and can help you deal with the current meta, you know, in order for you to climb to the top, in order to get more gems. Save those gems. Don't be too quick to start spending those gems. Save your gems until you get what you need in order to complete your decks. Now there are some new cards that are always going to come out every single day. But let me put it like this for you. There are people out here who've played only maybe ABC, or from the first day cards came out, they've been playing only worms. You know, they've been playing only worms as their decks. Or maybe they've been playing only maybe water as their decks. And they've been playing it and getting all the way to platinums and diamonds and so on and so forth. And they've been playing only that card. And then once they reach the top, they stop. What I'm saying is this. If you can master a deck, okay, all this need to hop from one deck to the other is not needed. Am I saying it's not a good thing? No, I'm simply saying it will save you a lot of headache when it comes to buying gems. But for those of us who are able to afford these gems, please go ahead and keep buying your gems, right? Keep buying your gems. This is what makes Konami, to keep going, because all the cheapskates like myself who are out here are not going to continue to support this game, and then this game eventually is going to die. I'm just speaking for those guys who are college kids who don't have anything to basically spend money on. And I want you guys to know that, hey, you guys can participate, you guys can still be part of the communities. All you just need to do is be patient, be thrifty, and look for what your deck should be, what your account should be. Should your account focus on fusions? Should your account focus on synchros? Should your account focus on pendulums? Should your account focus on whatever you need? Make sure you are focusing on the best decks that that can actually help you get to the top level. Or if it's one of those kind of decks that nobody knows about, but you can use it, you can basically leverage the lack of knowledge concerning that deck, right, in order to catapult you all the way to the top. Please go ahead and do so, right? But for me, many of the times I believe in going with what works, what has proven itself. That will be your main deck, and then a side deck just as a side hustle, basically to use that deck to help build it into something else. All right, guys, I've spoken enough, and I think our conversation has come to an end. But I just want to say, thank you guys for coming out to listen to what I got to say. I know it's not easy to listen to people like myself, but hey, I'm just here trying to provide tips and tricks in order to survive in this game that basically wants to eat you alive, basically eat your pockets alive. I'm just trying to give you a heads up that in as much as you're a sucker, we appreciate you, but at the same time, you got to use your head in order to make sure that you properly utilize your gems so that you can get the best experience that you can get out of this game, because think about it, the sucking never stops. Okay, it never stops. So you gotta know when to fold them. Okay, they say you gotta know when to fold them, know when to run. You better count your money while sitting at the table, especially when you're high. You better check out, before that time. So anyway, it's been your host, Gaming Odyssey, with another tips and tricks of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. So I'll see you guys on the flip side. Just remember to stay warm out there and stay fresh. All right, it's been a pleasure.